Part 1 of the inviting formula is greeting. The definition of greeting is polite, verbal, and nonverbal expressions used when meeting or talking to your prospect. Verbal expressions are pretty simple, but what would be examples of nonverbal expressions? A hand wave, a big smile, a handshake, to name a few. The purpose of the greeting is to get your prospect willing to talk freely and openly to you. Most people never think of this. They think a greeting is simply a hello. A simple hello is part of the greeting, but not the whole thing. The greeting is not complete until you've achieved the purpose of the greeting, which is to get your prospect to talk freely and openly to you. So in most cases, a simple hello will not fulfill the purpose of the greeting. It's only the start. If your prospect is not talking freely and openly to you, do not move to the next step, which is qualify. I hope that makes logical sense to you. See, if you progress too quickly out of greeting and into qualify, and the purpose of qualify is to find out what they need or want. If you've not gotten them to talk freely and openly to you in the greeting, then they won't tell you what they really need and want. You will get an on-the-surface type of an answer. So the greeting is very critical in setting up the rest of the formula to work correctly. If you think back to times your calls to prospects haven't gone well, you may see that you jumped too quickly to qualifying them, or worse yet, you jumped straight to inviting them before you had them willing to talk freely and openly to you, or finding out what they needed and wanted. All right, now you know the purpose of the greeting. Now let's talk about how to do a greeting correctly. Let's talk about greeting your warm market. Greeting someone involves communicating with them by making statements and asking questions. Typically, the greeting starts off with simple questions. How are you? That then lead to slightly more in-depth questions based on the prospect's response, then to more in-depth questions. In the case of people you know, the greater you know someone, the more in-depth you can start the greeting, such as, are you still working at Best Buy? The smoothness with which one moves from simple questions to in-depth questions and have the prospect follow you is the mark of great communication. A common error in greeting people is thinking about what to say or what to ask next while the prospect is responding to your earlier question. This couldn't be more incorrect. This causes the prospect to not feel as though they were heard. It also causes inappropriate responses from you that prove to the prospect you didn't hear them. And it causes you to not be able to recall what the person said. And the basic incorrectness is that you're not truly being interested in your prospect. Instead, you are interested in your next question to the prospect. This is the root of forgetting someone's name immediately after they said it. You were simply more interested in what your response or question would be. All right, let's start the live calls. Before I do, I want to explain how these work. I have 3 different sounds that alert you to something happening on the call. When you hear this ring, it means the call is starting. You'll also hear the same ring when the call is completed. When you hear this chime, it means that I had to edit something out, like a person's phone number or their last name, or if they happen to say something personal that I don't think the person would feel comfortable having someone else hear it. I also edit out anything I might say that would be specific to my company. When you hear this chime, it means that I'm going to insert my voice in the call to point something out to you. The chime is so that you can tell when I'm talking to you versus talking with the prospect. Also, my voice will sound slightly different. At the conclusion of my insertion, you will hear the same chime again, indicating I'm returning you to the live call. That way, you know that I'm no longer talking to you, but I'm now talking to the prospect. All right, listen to this live call with a referral named Catherine. On this call, what I want you to listen for is the exact moment I accomplished the greeting.
Hello,
Hello, can I speak to Catherine?
this is she.
Hi, Catherine. My name is Tim Sales. You know Sue?
Oh, yeah.
Well, she gave me your telephone number and suggested that I call you. I am working on a project, and I want to talk to you about it. Can I?
Sure.
She said that you're a bookkeeper. Is that what you do?
Yep.
How long have you been a bookkeeper?
Oh, gosh, maybe 15 years now.
15 years.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, all right. So have you ever done anything else?
Well, I had my own business, and that was a house cleaning business. And I had a lot of employees then, and just some work for my church, and then that was about it.
Ah, so you've been an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
How'd you get into the house cleaning business?
I'm actually natively good at it. I'm Irish, so that just makes us good at that. And
So you have to be from Ireland to be good in business. Is that what you're saying?
That's right, but we can't cook. So anyway, I don't know. It was just something I was good at, and it was a big demand up in the Bay Area, so it was a good business.
All right, could you hear at the moment she started laughing, she really opened up and was willing to talk openly to me? When I listened to the playback of that call, I could literally feel her defenses drop right when she laughed. This next call is a really nice lady named Lynn that I met on a yacht about a year ago. There were about 20 other people on the boat, and so we had talked as a group, and she and I had had some one-on-one conversation as well. She's a singer, a very talented one, I might add. We've talked a couple of times since that first meeting. When I called her, we had not talked in about 7 months or so. If instead of listening to what we're saying, and it's hard because you get caught up in listening to someone else's conversation, but if you listen exclusively to the inviting formula at work, you will hear 3 questions or comments from me, and it isn't until the third one that I accomplish the greeting. See if you can detect that.
Hello?
Is this Lynn Rose?
This is Lynn Rose. Who's
This is Tim Sales.
Tim Sales. How are you?
How are you doing?
I'm good.
What
Nice to hear your voice.
You too. What you been up to?
Busier than busy. Working away, working at a couple different projects, but it's all good.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Are you still using that incredible voice of yours?
Aren't you sweet? I am. Going to be actually traveling very soon and doing some concerts, and very happy about it.
Is it like, big stuff? Are you, is it something that I can like watch on TV here?
Oh, isn't that nice? No, I can always show you video if you want, but no, I'm just going to be going to Japan and going to speak and sing over there. Have a translator as well, which is going to be fun.
Wow.
But speak for 15 minutes and then do a little mini concert afterwards. And then I'm going to go visit some old friends and sing at some places I used to sing at there. It's going to be great.
All right, hopefully you were able to detect the 3 questions or comments I made to get her to talk freely and openly. All right, let's move to another section of greeting people. How about greeting people you've met as a result of them responding to an ad in the Help Wanted or Business Opportunities section of a newspaper by faxing or emailing in their resume? When you've received a resume, you're basically in the role of evaluating someone for a position. So immediately you're in a qualify position, but you don't forego the greeting step. You just ask a couple of qualifying types of questions and then circle around and get to know them a little and make sure they're open and talking to you. When I'm calling someone from their resume, here's an example of what I say. Hello, is Bob Parker in? Hi, Bob. My name is Tim Sales. You responded to an advertisement in the Washington Post newspaper by sending us your resume. I have it in front of me, and I have a couple of questions. Do you have a moment to talk? This is your initial greeting. It's friendly, and it gives you a good posture position. Here's how I circle back around and make sure that I've done a good greeting with the person. I see here on your resume you worked in a sales position at Cisco. Tell me more about that position. Their answers are normally somewhat sterile. Then a little later, I might say something like, so what does Bob really want to achieve in his life? Not just that he wants a job, but what are his ambitions? By the way, I ask it just that way. Have him look at Bob as a second person. This type of question can serve as a qualifying question, but at the same time, it's asked in such a way that it will cause the person to speak more freely and openly to you. Here's a live call with someone from an ad. What I want you to hear in this one is the way I circle back around after a few questions and accomplish the greeting.
Hello, can I speak with Madison, please?
This is her.
Hi, Madison. My name is Tim Sales. You responded to an advertisement in the LA Times by sending us your resume. The advertisement read something like health company seeking top-level sales rep to...
Yes, I remember. Okay.
All right. So I've got your resume in front of me here. Do you have a second to talk?
I do, absolutely.
Okay. I see sales, and more sales.
Yes, you're born with the ability. It just kind of comes out, right? So yes, go ahead.
All right. So you like sales, I take it?
Obviously, yes, very much.
Good. What do you like about sales?
I really enjoy people. I like the immediate gratification of having somebody. If I believe in the product, of course, receiving the product and also getting to know that person's desires, and then meeting them, that immediate gratification at the end of the day when you've hit numbers and, you've been successful. I like that.
Good. What kind of things have you sold in the past?
Well, I started off with Cutco knives when I was, 15 years old, going door to door. I've sold everything from insurance to classes, seminars to actually in the health field. I was very interested in some nutrition, and I was working with kind of a trainer, so I was interested in that area, selling that. So yeah, I've sold everything. Except for cars and planes, which people say that should be the next thing, and houses. But no, I haven't sold any of that yet.
All right. Well, well done. So, off the professional direction and more on what is it that Madison most wants to accomplish? In other words, yes, you want a job, but what does Madison really want to accomplish in her life?
Well, ideally, I'm seeking something that I can sink my teeth into and obviously create value in a larger scale. I'm very philanthropic and would like the ability to do something in that realm where I'm helping a lot of people. Freedom's very important to me. I like to set my own hours. I like, that's important, but I'd also like to make a lot of money. So I have those three as the top of my list of the things I want in my next career. So.
And that was freedom to set your hours.
And variety.
Variety.
And making a difference in society somehow, and and make a lot of money. Okay, 4 things.
Should we leave the tab open?
Yes, please.
You can add something more later.
Exactly.
Okay, good.
Could you tell the way she opened right up and gave me the real Madison after I asked her the question about what she wants to accomplish in her life? All right, let's move to discussing calling people back after they've left a message on your answering machine, such as in response to a flyer, postcard, or some other type of direct mail promotion. It's very similar to the earlier example of resumes. The most noticeable difference is that you don't have as much posture because the prospect is more skeptical. Here's an example of what I say. Hello, is Mark in? Hi, Mark. My name is Tim Sales. You responded to our postcard, if it was a flyer or door hanger, you would say that, concerning a home-based business by leaving a voice message. I'd like to talk to you about it. Do you have a moment to talk? And then I'd ask just general types of questions. What area are you in? Things like that. And then I would ask, so what attracted Mark to answer an ad about a home-based business? If you happen to answer the phone when someone calls in, it's only slightly different. Here's an example. I would answer the phone something like this. Hello, this is Tim. Prospect says something like, yeah, I'm calling about the advertisement. And then they might say a little bit more. And then my response back would be, hi, who am I speaking with? Prospect says, my name is John. Nice to meet you, John. What is it about the advertisement that interested you? Typically, you'll get a response like, oh, I was just curious. What I normally respond to this type of typical reply is, okay, well, is working from home something you're just curious about, or is it something you've seriously thought about wanting to do? Now let's talk about greeting strangers. In greeting strangers in person as opposed to being on the phone, there are basically 2 ways to do it. Number 1, start the conversation by bluntly asking a question, such as, do you take supplements? It's abrupt, but if delivered well and the stranger has an interest in the question, it can work. This is the basic approach to doing surveys. By survey, I mean you walk up to someone and ask if they've ever thought about owning their own business, or if they take supplements. The second way to start conversations with strangers is by talking about items in the environment. Temperature, chair, elevator speed, table, earrings, anything. With things in the environment, you point out some interesting item and start the conversation about it. I've not been outside today. Is it cold out? See, you're getting your prospect to focus on the environment. Or, I see you have a large bag of wheat in your cart. What do you use it for? See, the item in the environment is what you direct the prospect to look at and talk about. Then take their response, or lack of, and build from there. Greetings, which turn into conversations that then turn into relationships, are created by finding things, then more things the 2 of you agree on. No relationship just happens. Someone creates it. The way I think of this is that there are three separate entities. Entity 1 is you. Entity 2 is your prospect. Entity 3 is the relationship that is formed between the two entities. The third entity, the relationship entity, requires both Entity 1 and 2 to exist. If you've ever been in a one-sided relationship, you know how true that statement is. The relationship is not just you, and it's not just them. The relationship is both of you. That's why I view the relationship as a separate unit. So no relationship just happens. It's not fate that you meet someone. You or they cause the relationship to start and continue and end. Sometimes it's both people, but in the very beginning seconds, one person continues to create it long enough for the other person to start contributing to it also. Once the stranger is contributing to the conversation, the third unit or entity begins to develop. Then, a blunt question such as, "Do you take supplements?" isn't so blunt. It should be no surprise to you that I'm biased towards starting conversations this way instead of the blunt question approach, simply because you're actually fulfilling a proper greeting, which is to get the prospect to talk freely and openly to you before you ask a qualifying question. On the communication qualities I pointed out earlier, not having too much assertiveness is vitally important when meeting people. Too much assertiveness creates apprehension on the part of the prospect. The closer the proximity of the item you're talking about to the stranger, the riskier that conversation is of being too assertive. "Wow, this elevator is fast," is a much safer greeting in terms of assertiveness than "I like your earrings." But the latter is much more personal. If accepted by the stranger, will move you more quickly towards conversation than the elevator statement. It all depends on the prospect's openness to being communicated to and the delivery of your greeting. Oddly, in meeting people, you don't be interested in the prospect at the very beginning because you want to reduce the amount of assertiveness displayed. Instead, be interested in the item. Then, as the person begins to contribute to the conversation about the item, shift slowly to being interested in the prospect. The most important determinant in successfully greeting people is your intent in meeting the person. Again, intent means an aim or purpose. What's your intent in meeting someone? If during the meeting of a new person you hold to successfully accomplishing each step of the inviting formula by starting out with a sincere intent to only meet this person, learn about this person, get to know this person, your greetings will go smoothly. If instead your intent is to prospect, get this person in your business, sell, manipulate, trick this person, you will find your greetings are strained and unsuccessful. Remember, step 1 of the inviting formula is to greet. Step 2 is to qualify. And then step 3 is to invite. Just have fun greeting and meeting people with your intent only to greet and meet. Then, confirm that they are open to talking with you, and then find out what they need and want, and if they qualify and you see you can help them, move towards inviting them and making their life better. If you set up to meet someone with the intent of prospecting them, it is very uncomfortable and scary. If you see someone you want to just meet and say hi to, it's not uncomfortable. If after meeting the person you find that you wouldn't want to work with them, then no harm done. You've not invited them to look at anything. You just met someone, and you might have gotten into the qualify step, but at some point you decided against it. No harm done. I sure hope this is of value to you in meeting strangers. It took me quite a long time to figure out the mechanism behind meeting people. It seems awfully simple when you hear it, but no one has ever really examined that focusing a stranger on an item and starting a conversation about that item and then having them contribute to the conversation is basically the way two strangers meet. I tried to get some recordings of me meeting strangers because it really works like a charm, but the strangers' volumes were too low, and it wasn't like I could just put a microphone up to their mouth and ask them to speak louder. But you will hear a couple of people in the qualify section that came as a result of me talking to strangers. All right, let's move to how to greet someone from a purchase lead. One of the most important points to know when you buy a lead is how that lead was generated. The more information you know, the better. This is how you connect with the prospect. If you don't know how the lead was generated, it's just a shot in the dark. Here's a couple of examples. Is John in? Hello, John. Did you fill out a questionnaire indicating an interest in working from home? With a good lead, the answer will be yes. With a bad lead, the answer will be no. I then ask, do you have an idea of what kind of home business you're looking for? This normally opens the prospect up and the greeting step gets fulfilled. If the lead answers no, they didn't fill out a questionnaire, I normally fish around and see if they're willing to talk to me. If not, I end the conversation. With this first live call, I was testing some leads of a company that promised us they were the best leads we could get. They actually ended up being terrible leads. What I want you to listen to is how I fished around to see if he had an interest. Then when I determined he didn't, I ended the call.
Hello?
Hello, is this Ben?
Yeah.
Hi, Ben. My name is Tim Sales. Did you order a package called I Got There, You Can Too?
I don't believe so, no.
It was from a TV commercial, something you might have went to a website, forfreekit.com, something like that.
No, I didn't. I don't remember that.
But it had to do something with home-based business or taking your business to the next level, if you already have one?
Don't think so, no.
Didn't order it.
Oh.
So do you have any interest in any of those two things?
No.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, sorry to have bothered you.
Okay, bye.
Bye-bye.
You can hear that it wasn't a good idea to continue pursuing that prospect. The next live call is a purchase lead from our regular real-time leads, which only get sold to 2 people. With this call, the lady brings up the fact that she was called by someone else. So I just used that as a way to accomplish the greeting. See if you can detect how I used that.
Hello?
Hello, can I speak with Nadira?
Oh, yeah, this is she.
Hi, Nadira. My name is Tim Sales. Did you fill out a questionnaire having to do with a business that you could work from home?
Yeah.
Yeah? Do you have an idea of what it is that you're actually looking for? Is it just in business in general, or did you have a specific idea in mind?
Well, somebody called me this afternoon, and we had a long talk, and apparently it's not working for me.
Okay.
Yeah.
What specifically isn't working?
Well, it was about my background. It was about what I wanted to, my income, my yearly income, and yeah.
Oh, well, I'm sorry. I am not that person. I'm not calling in regards to that person.
Seems like I had no chance to work at home.
Well, I disagree with that.
Well, yeah.
I think that there would have been several people who have said I couldn't have done it, but I ended up being able to. Did he give a particular reason why he felt that you couldn't?
Not really.
All right.
But, I just decided not to do it because, well, I tried something else.
What are you going to try?
Because I'm a foreign doctor, a medical doctor from overseas, and I'm here getting my equivalence, and in the meantime I was looking for a job, and I thought working at home was the best way for me.
Did you see that by me asking her questions about the other person, she opened up? Then when I said, well, I disagree with that, was when the greeting was fulfilled. I became her friend. And the last purchase lead live call is an interesting one, but you can plainly hear how the greeting was accomplished.
Hello?
Hello, is this Benson?
Speaking.
Hey, this is Tim Sales. You had filled out a questionnaire wanting a home-based business?
Yeah, I wanted to get some information on it.
Have a specific idea of what it is that you're actually looking for, man?
No, not really. I've been out of work for a couple of years, so I'm looking for something.
What kind of work have you done in the past?
I was an automotive technician for 16 years.
And you live in Mechanicsville?
Yep.
You find that coincidental?
No, because there's a Mechanicsville, Virginia, too, so.
And were you from there, too?
Oh, no.
Oh, okay.
No, that would be too coincidental.
Do you now see the value in fully listening to your prospect? See, I couldn't have accomplished that Mechanicsville conversation, which was the key to accomplishing the greeting, had I not been fully interested and fully listening to my prospect. And again, you'll know you've gotten a good greeting when they open up and talk to you. If you're getting things like, what's this all about? How did you get my number? Why are you calling me? You are not out of the greeting stage. Part 2 of the inviting formula is qualify. The definition of qualify is to affirm capable and willing. The purpose of qualifying is to find out what the prospect needs, wants and doesn't want as it pertains to your business. This determines if he or she qualifies to be invited to look at your business. The reason doesn't want is included is because many times the prospect will state things like, I don't want to work at the plant any longer, or I don't want to sit in traffic anymore. In order to present your business in the best possible way, you must use relevant information concerning your prospect. Relevant means having to do with. This is critically important. Logically, in order to sell something, you must merge your product, service, or business with the prospect's interests. The word merge means to combine. So you're going to combine what your company offers with what he or she needs, wants, or doesn't want. Now, with just knowing that your prospect wants a home-based business, you could merge your home-based business to that want. But professionals want to find out not just what the person needs, wants, or doesn't want, but why is there that want or need? Meaning, what is his or her reason for wanting a home-based business? An example might be to be with his daughter, Precious. This information is relevant to the prospect, and selling and communication has everything to do with the prospect and nothing to do with anything else. When you gather and use, in conversation, relevant information about your prospect, you get and keep your prospect's attention. Let's suppose you're talking to a prospect and the prospect says something like, I want to do something where I can make more money. To a novice networker, he or she would just jump all over that and rush in and try to interest them in their company. A professional networker would respond back, what would you do with more money? You're looking for that item that really gets the prospect interested. Let's suppose he said, I'd buy a sailboat and cruise the Caribbean islands. Now you have something. Now you can invite him to look at your business merging sailboat cruising the Caribbean islands, and your prospect will be interested. I'm not successful at getting their reason for wanting the particular thing on every call, but every call I try. I've identified 2 reasons why I don't always get it. Number 1, the prospect may not know why he wants a particular thing. He may have just answered an advertisement out of curiosity. The second reason is because I've not been successful at building enough rapport. Sometimes a prospect needs more than 1 call before he trusts me enough to share his reason. Regardless, I always try to get this information because when you think about it, if you're selling bowling balls, do you care if the prospect is buying it because he loves candy apple red bowling balls, or that he's just realized that now that hunting season is over, he wants an indoor hobby? No, you don't care. Other than the fact that if you don't know why he wants a bowling ball, every word you say has a very low chance of interesting the prospect. That is the reason you must qualify your prospect. So how do you merge this information? First and foremost is that you must remember that need or want or don't want they've said, and then you educate the prospect how your business will get him that sailboat. So many times I've seen networkers go through this process and get this very valuable information and then never use it again. Once you have this information, you must use it frequently. You use it in the inviting step. You use it in handling questions and objections. You use it in the close to action. You use it in the follow-up. You use it in connecting your company and product. You use it throughout your training of this person. And you use it when you congratulate him for achieving it. The conversation about more money and more free time comes up naturally when there is a discussion around a person's profession. What kind of work do you do? Is a very common question, which is normally answered with them naming their profession. Then a response question from you to the person like, do you like your job? Or are you happy there? Normally returns a surface response such as, it's a job. Or, it's okay, I guess. Or, oh, I love it. Your task as a professional is to ask appropriate questions to get below the surface and find out your prospect's true need, want, don't want. A good way to think of it is that your prospect's surface response, such as, it's okay, is like a tag that reads, pull here to find out more. It's a fun treasure hunt. Keep in mind that if someone responds, oh, I love my job, that's okay. Remember, you're just talking with someone and enjoying learning about them. If they qualify, you will invite them. If they don't qualify, you will not invite them. The correct way to get below their surface response is to take whatever surface response is given and use it to base additional questions on. Let me give you a couple of examples of this. You're talking with a friend who is a mortgage banker and she says, I see my job going nowhere. You could get below the surface by asking, where would you want your job to take you? See, I used her surface response to ask an additional qualifying question. Another example would be, In talking with an attorney that you just met on an airplane, he says, "I'm a little stressed because I have a trial when I arrive." Your first qualifying question might be, "Do you enjoy the stress?" The attorney responds, "No, I don't particularly enjoy the stress." Then you could ask, "Is there something you'd rather be doing that's less stressful?" One more. You're talking with a friend who recently started a new job. You ask her how it's going. She replies, "Okay, I guess." Then she adds, "One of my bosses is a real jerk. He hates women." Your possible reply would be, "Oh my, what are you going to do?" See, that's how you get below the surface. See, all you're doing is taking their surface response and asking an additional question to find out more. If there is such a thing as a secret or the key to inviting, I just gave it. All right, here's a good place to talk about an important issue. I call it controlling conversations. Observe any conversation and ask the question, who's controlling that conversation? The answer is the one asking the questions. This is quite contrary to what many people think. Many people think the person who's talking the most is controlling it. Not true. The Collins Dictionary gives the best definition for the type of control being described here. Collins reads, "If something is under your control, you have the power to make all the important decisions about the way it is run." Watch an interviewer on TV asking questions of the interviewee. Who's controlling it? The interviewer. Perhaps the best interviewer of all times is Barbara Walters. There isn't any doubt that she controls all conversations. Controlling a conversation isn't wrong unless your intent for doing so is deceitful. If you're asking questions of someone to help them get what they want, it's very admirable. Simply put, always be the one asking questions. Where the technique comes in is when they turn the table on you and ask you a question, which shifts the control to them. How you handle this marks a great communicator. The technique is, anytime you're asked a question, answer briefly, don't brush it off. Then ask a question to gain back control. Let's go to a quick live call so you can hear an example of this technique. We'll pick back up with the ad call with Madison. Pay specific attention to when she asks a question and how I answer her, but immediately ask another question that puts me back in control.
And make a lot of money. Okay, 4 things.
Should we leave the tab open?
Yes, please.
You can add something more later.
Exactly.
Okay, good. All right.
So
Well,
what is this product? What does the job entail?
basically working with a device with a consumer. And so you'd be interacting with a consumer in a sales type of a position, and then on a sales development training as well, further on down the road. Would you be completely afraid of straight commission?
No, I've worked on straight commission before. Obviously, I'd like to see what the numbers look like and so forth. But no, I'm not completely opposed to that. No.
It's your complete but brief answers to their questions that cause the prospect to not feel interrogated. If you find your prospect is matching your brief length of answer, take a little longer in your replies. Just don't go on and on. Share something brief, say 15 to 30 seconds or so, and then ask your prospect a question. A professional does not blab about himself. He's interested in the prospect. And don't talk about the wonderful business you just got involved in. That may come up later. In the qualifying step, you're just being interested in the prospect and finding out what he or she needs, wants, and doesn't want. Okay, I've given you several qualifying scripts to use and also scripts on how I get below the prospect's surface response, as well as how to control conversations. Now I'll give you a script that I use that I call the direct approach. I use it primarily in my warm market and when my greeting didn't lead into a conversation about business, or if I've not talked to a person for a very long time. However, always attempt to do a proper greeting and qualify. So here's the way the script sounds. Hi John, I'm calling to talk business, but first, how are you? Another one would be, John, we've been friends for a while and we've never really discussed business. Would you be opposed if we did? Here's another one. Have you ever thought of a business outside of whatever his profession is, law, accounting, bookkeeping, whatever it is? Another one would be, I've got a business idea. Would you be open to seeing something on it, or are you completely satisfied now? Let's hear a live call. This live call is of someone I met in the gym. With this call, I use a direct approach. I actually use 2 different direct approaches. The call also has some good getting below the surface examples as well. I'll insert the chime just before both of the direct approach examples. It won't be cutting anything out. It will just be there as a marker for you that the direct approach is coming up. The first chime will come shortly after the call starts, as I'm using the direct approach to set up the call. Then the second chime comes immediately after the greeting, but before the qualify begins. Just as a heads up, the greeting lasts about 3 to 4 minutes.
Hello,
Is this Joel?
this is Joel.
Hey, Joel. My name is Tim Sales. You and I met the other day at the gym. We exchanged business cards. Do you remember me?
Yeah. How you doing?
Yeah, you do? Sure?
Yeah, I do.
All right, what do I look like? Do you really remember me?
I do remember you, yes.
Okay. You and I just started talking, and I found a couple of things intriguing, and I have an idea that may or may not be interesting to you or not, but would just like to explore it. Do you have a second?
Yeah.
What kind of work is it that you do? I remember you telling me that you were in aerospace. What's like your typical day like?
I'm a project manager. I have a small staff of about 6 engineers that work for me, and our main job is to take product, usually it's a physical product, and take that product and take it from early development all the way through final delivery, production, hand it over to whoever the end user is. Typically, these are physical type projects. So,
Physical, like what?
in this case, we're dealing with very expensive multi-million-dollar tools.
Huh.
The company that I'm working for is building major assemblies for the Joint Strike Fighter.
Joint Strike Fighter?
Yep, the F-35, the next generation fighter.
F-35. I'd say that's next generation. The last one I remember is like the F-18.
Yeah, well, they've got the since then they brought out an F-117 and an F-22. Those are probably the latest versions. But yeah, my company builds the F-18 as well. So.
Oh, sweet. How about the F-14? Do you build that too?
My company built the F-14 as well. Yes.
Oh man, I love the Tomcat. I think those are so cool.
Yeah, they're great aircraft.
I have a photo. It's very, very rare. There was a guy on an airplane that ended up sharing it with me. He sent it to me later. It's an F-18, and there was an aircraft beside it that was taking a photo and just happened to snap it at precisely the moment that it broke the sound barrier. And there was some kind of it looks like a big round...
condensation cloud?
Yeah.
It's a low-pressure scenario where it develops a cloud around somewhere around the body of the aircraft.
Joel, it's the most amazing photograph I've ever seen, and I would have swore that somebody photoshopped it in.
Yeah, it's. I've got some pretty interesting photos of B-2. My company builds that aircraft as well, doing the same thing. So maybe I'll send you some if you're interested.
Oh, heck yeah, man. I'm so fascinated with these things. Because this particular one, it actually looks like the aircraft is like coming out of something.
Right.
Because it's right around the tail, this round circle thing, but yet there's no cloud behind it and no cloud in front of it, but it looks like it's coming out of something.
Right.
And so it's just really, really cool.
Yeah, they travel right with the aircraft I've seen them travel at low levels off Point Mugu area for, as far as the eye can see with that cloud, hanging around both F-18s and F-14s.
Wow. Yeah, I was just thinking, my gosh, the airplane that was taking the photo had to be going at the sound barrier, or had to be at that speed in order to do that.
Of course, yeah.
To take that. That's really, really cool stuff. So, would you have any reason to look at something outside of that? In other words, if you're totally, completely happy with that, what you feel you're contributing, what you're getting out of life financially, and what you're not getting out of life, in other words, what you could be doing with your time otherwise. If you're totally happy, then, we leave it at that. But if there's an inkling of something else that you'd want out there, then I'd like to pursue something with you. Would you have a reason to look at a business outside of what you're doing?
Yeah. I've thought about it in the past, yeah, sure. And, I think about it, every now and then when I'm not, swamped at work, yeah.
When it's real bad, I start thinking about what else could I do.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Stress levels get too high.
Listen to the way I get below his surface answer about that he had thought about a business.
So what's come to your mind in terms of what you'd like to do?
I have looked at potentially somewhere down the line opening up my own business, a consulting type firm that would consult to aerospace, primarily dealing with project management.
Good. What's stopped you from achieving that or going after that?
Life.
Life.
Life in general.
Is it financial? Is it time-wise? What's kind of stopped you from that?
I think it's been a little of both of those and other diversions. I have a daughter, so I mean, there's life, kid issues, home
Sure.
issues that go on, as well as the job itself. I realize that I'm in the middle of transitioning. The company has a lot of opportunities at this point, so I'm trying to make the most of my time, my age, everything that I can take advantage of right now to achieve whatever that plateau is within the company.
Mm-hmm.
Then I have a goal, at some given point to perhaps pursue more of this consulting, even maybe pull my wife into it at some given point as well. All those things, as well as I'm not exactly certain about financial, to be honest with you. I don't know that it would require, it's not like going out and opening up a Starbucks franchise, which by the way, I don't even think you can open up a Starbucks franchise, but you get my point. You're talking about a lot of capital outlay. I don't think it's that type of business, nor does it require that type of capital. Mm-hmm. So I don't know that that's necessarily a big factor.
Right. Yeah, because there would have to be the survival resources while you get the business up and running.
Yeah.
Where with a franchise such as Starbucks, well, first thing you'd have to do is move the other 5 stores over a little bit so you could squeeze yours in.
Exactly. Right.
That would be the first obstacle. But then, of course, you're going to have to get the employees, and you're going to have to get the inventory, and then pay the space that you're going to be occupying.
Right.
Things like that. So there's those. But in consulting, you don't have those particular startup costs, but you do have your living burn rate that you have to run through.
Right, and the other thing is I have been involved in some businesses in the past that were, one was retail, and there is overhead, a lot more overhead than a consulting type business. There is all the worries of having all these employees if they're going to show up on time. So I certainly would want to stay out of that kind of business.
Right. I totally agree with you.
I'm about to ask the key question in this phone call to get the relevant information, why Joel would look at a business. Pay close attention.
And if you had this consulting business, do you think it would give you the dream that you have? In other words, what is it that you would say, ultimately what I'd like to do is blank. And if that is living on a yacht, if that's too personal and you don't want to tell me that, that's fine. But
well, I guess you're asking me the question, what do I want out of this?
What does it give Joel?
It would give me more financial freedom, which I don't know if that's living on a yacht or just having the ability to, at some given point in my life, 10 years, 15, 20 years down the road, that if I choose, I can have a lot more, certainly I would have a lot more control over my own, destiny from a financial standpoint. Be able to leave maybe there'd be some legacy, more of a legacy, a larger legacy for my my children, my daughter. That's
awesome, man.
To pinpoint it to, I want to live on the beach. Well, yeah, of course I would like to live on the beach, but that's farther down the importance chain.
Yeah. So leaving a legacy for your daughter, as well as be able to have just more control over your own time and your own finances, are right now what you can see is that you want to achieve.
Exactly.
And you feel as though that the consulting business would do that?
I think it's a good opportunity to do it without being heavily soaked with a lot of upfront costs.
Good. Yeah. I can see that.
All right, there were a lot of good lessons in that call. The primary one was how I use the direct approach. You also got to hear that I have one more sound for you. I didn't tell you about that sound before because I wanted it to surprise you. That bell sound you heard is what I use to indicate that we've located that very valuable thing our prospect wants. I want to get your ears calibrated to hear the exact moment when the prospect says their need, want, or don't want. because that is what a professional networker is all about. They find this thing a person wants, and they help them get it. So my dream, Tim Sales' dream, is that whenever you hear your prospects say their real need, want, or don't want, that a bell goes off in your head, and that bell indicates that you can now be of service to someone. You can help someone now. All right. Can you tell where my passion is? All right, let's move on to qualify. When working with purchase leads, it's pretty straightforward. In many respects, it's easier to work purchase leads than any other, simply because they've somewhat qualified themselves as to needing or wanting a business, unless your lead source is giving you lame leads. The downside, of course, is that other people may have purchased this lead and have already called this prospect, or something may have changed between the time they filled out the questionnaire and when you're calling them. Again, much has to do with your lead source. Some of the biggest names in the business sell their leads 20 to 50 times each. Once you have a good lead source, the main thing you want to do is find out why that prospect wants to own their own business. Then, of course, help them get it. I'll give you the qualifying scripts I use, starting with the greeting, so you get the flow of it. The greetings go something like this. Hello, can I speak with John? Hi, John. My name is Tim Sales. You filled out a questionnaire indicating that you're interested in a home-based business. Then the qualifying questions go something like this. I'm calling to find out if you found what you're looking for. Or, I'm calling to find out what type of business you're looking for. Or, I'm calling to find out if what you want is a match with our business. Then further qualifying questions are, do you have a particular business in mind? Have you ever owned your own business before? If so, what happened with it? What do you want to achieve by owning your own business? How would you quantify that? What things would you not want in your business? What, if you heard it, would you go, that's what I'm looking for? Let's go to a couple of live calls with purchase leads. On these purchase leads, if you hear me reference that the prospect has indicated something or has stated something, what that means is that when the prospect submitted their contact information to the lead company, there were a few questions that were asked of the prospect, like what's the main reason you want a home-based business? How much money could you invest in a home business? Questions like that. So that's what I'm referencing when I'm talking to the prospect. Hopefully that clears up or prevents any confusion you may have. On this call, we'll pick back up on Nadira. She's the foreign doctor who was told by the first person who bought her lead that she didn't qualify. I think that person needs to hear Professional Inviter. What do you think? From the qualifying scripts I gave you just a few minutes ago, see if you can pick them out in the live call. Remember, the reason you do the qualify step is to find out what someone needs, wants, or doesn't want.
Oh, well, I'm sorry. I am not that person. I'm not calling in regards to that person.
Seems like I had no chance to work at home.
Well, I disagree with that.
Well, yeah.
I think that there would have been several people who have said I couldn't have done it, but I ended up being able to. Did he give a particular reason why he felt that you couldn't?
Not really.
All right.
But, I just decided not to do it because, well, I tried something else.
What are you going to try?
Because I'm a foreign doctor, medical doctor from overseas, and I'm here getting my equivalence. And in the meantime, I was looking for a job, and I thought working at home was the best way for me to do it.
Any particular specialty that you have?
Yes, GI, gastroenterology.
Gastroenterology, yes. And so are you wanting to work in that particular field here in America?
Well, I was, that was my first plan. But, I know it'll take a long time to get there, like at least 3 or 4 years. And, everything can change in 4 years. You never know what's going to happen.
Well, unless you make it happen, one or the other.
That's true. Yeah, that's why I wanted to do something at home, but related with at least a medical field.
Yes. Where are you from originally?
Algeria.
Nigeria.
No, Algeria.
Algeria.
Yes, it's. I'm sure people know more Morocco. You know Morocco. It's just East Morocco.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Well, how long
yeah.
have you been here in the States?
Now it's my second year.
Your second year.
Yeah.
So what have you been doing for the last couple of years here? And if I ask something too personal, just say that's too personal, okay?
No, I came here because of the situation in my country.
Uh-huh.
And I have a daughter, so I wanted her to have a better education.
Mm-hmm.
So, and my husband is still in Algeria. He's a doctor too.
Oh,
so that's how,
Well, that must be difficult that you two are apart.
Exactly, yeah.
Does he have plans to come here?
Yes, yes.
Uh-huh. Any particular date? In other words, is it...
Oh, not right now. Not right now. No. Yeah.
Well,
As you can easily tell, we have accomplished the greeting. She is talking freely and openly to me. Now listen to my next question. It pulls out her reason for wanting to work from home.
Let me ask you this. What particular reason is it that you would most like to work from home?
It's because of my daughter, and as I told you, my husband is not here.
Yes.
So, she's at school, and to me it's better if I can manage work and family.
Oh, of course. How old's your daughter?
She's 11.
Oh, 11. No kidding.
Uh-huh.
Oh, so what? She's just now going into 6th grade, 7th grade?
Yeah, middle school.
Yes.
She's starting her first year there.
Big step.
Yeah.
Yeah, I bet. I bet you're very proud of her.
Absolutely, and she's a good student too. We're very proud of her.
Oh, that's so fantastic.
Yeah.
Did you hear that when I got her to say her want, that she seemed to be smiling when she was talking about her daughter? Did you hear the pride she has with her daughter? Did you hear the frustration of not being with her husband? She needs help. And that's good, because that's what I do. This next call is with a lady named Ruth. As you'll hear, she just opened right up and told me exactly what she wants in a business. If you tune in to me, you can hear that I'm trying to write everything she says. Then I circle back around and fulfill the greeting with her.
Hello?
Hello, is this Ruth?
Yes.
Hi, Ruth. My name is Tim Sells. Did you fill out a questionnaire on the internet having to do with working from home?
Yeah, several.
You did several of them, huh?
Mm-hmm. I want to see which one's the best one for me.
All right. Well, what is it that you're actually looking for?
Something that I can sell that people want and that also creates residual income and that I don't feel like it's, junk.
All right. And what would define junk to you?
I
have my own opinion of that, but I'd like to hear yours.
Stuffed animals, beanie babies, knickknacks, whatnots, things that are passing fancy.
Got it. All right. Well, if you're going to create a residual income, you'd want to make sure that it stays residual more than a week or two, huh?
Exactly. Something that people, need to keep replenishing would be the best thing.
All right. So have you had your own business before?
My husband and I run a farming business.
Run a farming business. What do you farm?
Grain.
All right.
Well, actually, he's my ex-husband, but we still work together.
Are you still buddies?
Might as well be.
Might as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you're married. Might as well be buddies.
Yeah, we were married. Might as well be friends.
That's awesome. So farming is pretty much it, or did you do something?
No, that was his. I mean, I grew up on a farm all my life, so it was kind of obvious that I'd marry a farmer. But I did other things. I'm also a CNA.
CNA?
Certified Nursing Assistant, and I've also been administrative assistant for not just this company, but for nursery of roses and plants and shrubbery and things like that. So I've had various, and sales and things like that throughout the years before I married my husband.
Ah, what kind of things did you sell?
Car phones.
What is it?
Car phones. When they used to have to install them.
Oh, okay.
Remember that?
Yeah.
For Cell 1, but then they merged with Comcast, so a lot of people lost their positions.
Oh, okay, good. So the components that you're really looking for in a business would be a business that would have something that you could sell that you can make a residual income on, and the product needs to be something of value,
exactly.
And that people want it.
Yeah.
All right. What you wrote down was the main reason that you were looking for a business was to be your own boss.
Exactly.
Right? So that's like the main point of why you want to...
when someone's their own boss, they work harder.
Thank you. I agree.
Okay, did you notice that on my first question, she just opened right up and told me what she was looking for? That's a great prospect. Then I fulfilled the greeting by asking her about what kind of work she's done in the past, and that's when the conversation about her husband came up and several others, which showed that we had a good rapport with each other. This next call is one where I was unsuccessful at getting the greeting at the very beginning, so listen how I was able to work back in and then fulfill the greeting.
Hello?
Hello, is this Yan?
Yes.
Do you pronounce your name Yan?
Yes.
Okay, I didn't want to mess it up there.
It's okay.
My name is Tim Sales, and I understand that you filled out a form over the internet.
Today?
Yeah, it was probably today.
Yeah.
Having to do with the business you could work from home?
Oh, yes, that's right.
All right. What is it that you're looking for? Do you know?
Well, I don't know. I don't know what options you guys
Okay.
have. I don't know. I mean, I just find it in the internet and I try to see, find out what it's about.
All right.
I don't know. Give me a list or whatever.
Okay, so whatever it is that I give you, you'll say, okay, I like that, or I don't like that, or I want that, or I don't want that, huh? All right. I got the form that you actually filled out, and I see that you want to spend more time with your family.
Yeah, that's the goal. Yeah.
All right. So do you currently work away from them?
I'm currently working right now. Yes.
What kind of work do you do now?
I'm a graphic designer myself.
A graphic designer?
Yes.
All right. Do you specialize in any particular field, Quark or Photoshop?
Yeah, I actually work in design, Photoshop, Illustrator, all of that.
Oh, okay.
All the Adobe products.
So do you do a lot of print work or more web work?
Mostly print work. Occasionally, I interact with the website.
Uh-huh.
I mean, try to, put things in the website, but no full time.
All right. So do you work for somebody or are you freelance?
No, right now it's an organization that I, working right now, and I just try to get something outside. Maybe I can get some more money because it's not enough.
I understand. You have a family, as in children?
Yeah, I have 2 kids.
You have 2 kids?
Yeah.
How old?
5 years old, the boy, and 15 months.
In 15 months?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Oh, fun. It's a lot of fun. And I completely admire the fact that you do want to spend more time with them.
Okay.
And the information that you filled out there was you could work 11 to 15 hours a week, right?
Yeah, that was the one I'm trying to manage. Yeah, having my full time and spend another hours in the weekends and weeknights, I guess.
Right.
Whatever is working at home.
Good. Yes.
Could you hear how he just slipped in that not enough statement? Well, how could you miss it when I hit you in the head with that bell in there, huh? See, he has 2 kids and he doesn't have enough money. Now, his bigger need could be he wants to be with his family. But what caused me to focus on money was his fearful laugh when he said, not enough. He's concerned about that. All right, that's a valuable list of scripts there. Remember, all these scripts I'm giving you are not just things to say, but have been worked and perfected to get results and minimize objections. And you can hear with your own ears that these scripts worked. Have you noticed that there hasn't been one objection yet? I'd recommend you learn and use these scripts. All right, the last thing about qualify that I'm going to discuss here is how to determine if your prospect qualifies. The absolute answer on this is, if they've stated a need, want, or don't want that your business can fulfill, they qualify for an invitation. This is, of course, assuming that you've done a good greeting and they indeed are speaking freely and openly to you. One point to emphasize here, at this point in the invite, you don't know yet whether the prospect qualifies for your business or not. All we know at this point is whether they qualify for an invite. We need to get them to look at the industry and want to participate in it. And then we want them to look at our business. And if they like that, then they qualify for our business. So all you're qualifying them for at this point is whether they have a need, want, or don't want for something your business offers. If they do, you invite them.
Professional Inviter recordings and transcripts are copyright 2004 by Up Statistics Corporation. Any unauthorized translation, duplication, importation, or distribution is a violation of applicable laws and will be prosecuted.